Hello, Catherine here from Catherine's Kitchen. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Today I thought I would do a video on pressure canners and I would show you how to put them together. They're super easy to put together and I thought I would explain exactly what all the bits are. So this is the pressure canner. This is the main body of the pressure canner. And this is the rack for the pressure canner. When you're using your pressure canner, you must always use it with the rack in the bottom, because you don't want your jars touching the bottom of the pressure canner with that heat, because they could get what's called thermal shock, which is basically they could heat up at a different temperature, they could crack, if they're on the direct heat. So the rack just raises them off the heat just a little bit. So that's pretty self-explanatory, so I'll just move you over. And so you've got your brand new pressure canner coming and you're a little bit nervous. There's no need to be too nervous. You can get induction pressure canners which work with the magnets. And just a wee tip, let me just grab a magnet. If you're out in an op shop and you're shopping for pots and things and you want to know whether they're an induction, if you find a magnet and it sticks, that's not an induction one, and it sticks, then you know that it's an induction pot. I've got another pressure canner just down here, which is actually an induction one. So you'll see that the magnet sticks to that. That's how you can tell whether it's an induction or whether it's not. So this one can work on the wee hot plate that I go on about. But this one here, this one can just work on a normal glass top stove or a ceramic stove. Or those old stoves with the ring burners, they work really well on those as well. So you've got your lid of your pressure canner. In here is your gasket. So you must always take your gasket out and wash it every time after you've used it. Sometimes they come with the gaskets on the lids, and then sometimes they come with them folded up. Some deals that you can get, especially from Oz Farmer, actually come with a spare gasket. So they're super easy. You can give them a light going around and just a little bit of oil, nothing too much. And then it's super simple. You just push it in and push it around. And keep going until it's in. And that's how easy it is to stick that in. So that's the first thing done. You've also got to remember too, when you first start to use your pressure canner, that the lid is going to be quite hard to get on, because the gasket hasn't worn in and stuff. So you'll have to have a bit of, strength to actually put the lid on for the first couple of times until it wears in a little bit. So you get a gauge with it's a dial gauge, and you actually do get a piece of paper with it that tells you how to put it in, but I just thought I'd show you. So it's just got a wee bolt nut. I'm not too sure what the technical term is. I know that that's a washer, and it also comes with a little wee I don't know whether you can see that, a little wee white washer as well. So this little wee white washer goes right in the middle there. It just sits. Can you see that? It just sits right in the hole there. Then you put that through, and it falls out, and you pick it up and put it back on. Then you get your washer, then you get your nut, and you just screw it on. Super easy. Be careful that you don't over screw your bolt, because I was helping a lady get hers together, and I can't remember whether it was her doing it or me doing it, but we were screwing it on, and the little white washer actually squished up, and it ended up breaking. So you don't need to do it super tight. So how tight do you do it up, you ask? What I do is I just hold onto the bolt or the nut, whatever, with my fingers, and I just turn the gauge until you until it starts turning in your hand, and until you can't stop it anymore. Hope that makes sense. So you can turn it around to face any direction. I personally have it facing the wee air vent. So this here is an air vent. So this is easy to put on and off too, but they generally come with them on. But these are just like a 2-piece little thing, and they just screw in. And it has a little plastic washer thing on it too. So these are easy to get. You can actually buy replacement parts as well. So if something goes, you can just buy them from Ozfarmer. So let me just put that back in. So that's that bit. Right, I've talked to you about the gauge, the air vent. I'll explain what each part does in a minute. Just bear with me. Kind of doing this off the cuff, so hopefully it'll work. Right, this here is your steam vent. So there's a little bit there that has a wee tiny hole in it, and when it talks about venting and steam venting, this is where the steam comes out. This part here can collect carbon. So over here I have a not so clean, just got a cloth lid because I've used it. So I'll just show you what I mean. So it'll collect carbon and it'll go black like that around the outside. That is all normal. But it can also collect carbon on the inside. And if that blocks up, that's where you have your trouble, and that's where things can explode, but not like the old days. More about that in a minute. So you must always make sure that this steam vent is clear. So if you hold it up to the ceiling and you can actually see through it, and you can see through it clearly, it's not blocked, it's fine. If the hole is a little bit smaller, or you can see some black stuff in there, you've got to get rid of it. So somewhere in this drawer here, which we won't go into because it's one of those drawers, I actually have a darning needle with a piece of wool on it, and I just pop it through the top and pull it through the bottom, and I just clear it that way. Some people actually stick their mouth around there and blow on it, which is a very effective way of doing it. No judgment from me. If you do what's right for you. So that's what that does. Now this wee hole here, this one here, is for the safety valve. And normally they actually come in them. So the safety valve is just a little black plastic, it's a plasticky rubbery kind of thing with a wee groove in it. I'm really good at explaining it, eh? Keeping it simple, people, keeping it simple. So all you do is you just push that through the hole, and it just sits there in the hole. So before, when I was saying about explosions, if this was full of carbon and there was like getting too much pressure up there and the pressure wasn't being released, this would blow. So the worst thing that could happen would be that you'd have maybe little bits of food blowing through the hole, but it would be, the the steam would come rushing out. So the lid's not going to come off like the old days and get stuck in the ceiling, and you're not going to have corned beef everywhere, like Grandma used to, do back in the old days. So they're relatively safe, but I've never had that happen. As long as you keep this free of carbon, you're going to be fine, absolutely fine. So that's that bit. Now, there are two different kinds of weights that you can get. I've just got this one, and I've never used this one. So if anybody has used this one, please leave some comments and some tips and tricks. You can use it in New Zealand, and you can use it as a 15-pound weight, but you can use it for 1,000 feet and under, or 1,000 feet and over. I know people that do use this one. Personally, my preferred weight, jiggler, regulator, whatever you want to call it, depends what mood I'm in, it's depending on what I call it, is a 15-pound weight. So it comes in 3 pieces, 1, 2, 3. So this is the bit here that fits on the steam vent, like that. So this is 5, this is 5, and this is 5. Generally, in New Zealand, in most places, we are 1,000 feet and under for elevation, or 1,000 feet and below sea level. I never know how to quite explain that, but I'm sure you'll get what I mean. So generally, you have to use 10 psi. So that's this bit and 1 ring. So that's generally what you use in New Zealand. So also you've got on your lid, it's going to be very, very hard to see it, but next to one of the handles you've got a little triangle bit there. It's just kind of like engraved in a little bit. On your canner, on one of the handles, you've got a triangle in white. So what you do is you match the triangle on your lid with the triangle on your handle. Then it should just pop down like that, and then you turn it around like that, and that's how you put your lid on. Quite simple. So through the magic of the video, we've got 7 jars of chicken in the canner. We've put our 3 jars of water in the bottom, or 3 quart jars, or 3 1 litre jars of water in the bottom. We've now got it on the stove, and we are now waiting for it to heat up. So it's going to start heating up. Now I personally start mine off a little bit slower, and I wait till I can get my hands on the pot, but it's still warm and it's heating up, and then I'll turn it up a little bit. Generally the rule is, if you're doing cold pack, it's cold water, cold product, and a cold start. If you're doing hot pack, then it's hot water in the canner, and turn it on while you're getting everything ready, so everything's nice and warm, and then you put your hot jars in, and then you start. If you put hot food or hot jars into a cold water, or vice versa, you can cause the old thermal shock, and you can cause things like siphoning as well, where you lose liquid and stuff out of your jars. But I'll do another video explaining all that later. Just wanted to explain about the lids. So you've got it on the stove, so you're waiting for everything to heat up. So what's going to start happening is you're going to start to be able to see, or maybe not see, but you'll be able to feel some steam coming out of here. Now, depending on what you've got in your pressure canner, is going to depend on how long it takes. For example, if you've got 7 jars of venison stew, that's a lot more denser than 7 jars of water, for example. So the water, of course, is going to heat up a lot quicker than what the 7 jars of venison stew are. It also depends whether you've got liquid in it. It depends whether you're doing your meat dry pack. But meat, when you dry pack it, usually creates its own liquid anyway, and liquid comes out of it. So yeah, I can't give you a time frame on how long it's going to take because it depends on what you're doing. But generally, you're waiting for steam to come out of here. It's going to get stronger and stronger. So when the steam first starts coming out, you're only going to be able to put your hand down here. Then once it's fair boiling and fair going and steaming, you'll be able to hold your hand up here and you'll be able to feel the steam coming out here. So once it's been steaming for a little while, don't take the lid off. I'm just doing this as an example. What's going to happen is this here, this air vent is going to pop up, just like that. Now while it's heating up, sometimes water can actually pull in a little bit around the vent bit there. All I do is get a paper towel, because it's quite normal, it just happens. It's just one of those things, you're not doing anything wrong, it's just happening. So all I do is I just get a paper towel and I just gently put it in the water and it just soaks up the water. Sometimes if there is too much water on there, it can actually prevent this from popping up. So that's why you've got to keep an eye on that. So that's going to pop up once this has been steaming and it's at, you know, the right temperature and stuff. Once that's popped up, that's when you start steam venting for 10 minutes. Yeah, so you just leave it for 10 minutes. Then once you've left that for 10 minutes, that's when you get your weight, which is here, weight, jiggler, whatever. And it's as simple as just popping that on there. Now once that's going to stay up the whole entire time, once you've popped that on, that's when your pressure is going to start building up. And so in New Zealand, for 1,000 feet and under, it's done on 10, around about 10 to 11. So actually on the dial, at each of the numbers, you've got, I'll grab this one, you've got like 5, 10, 15, 20, but you've got like two little bold lines at each number. So as long as the needle stays anywhere on those bold lines while you're pressure canning, that's perfectly fine. So once it's reached, say 10, so once you put your weight on, that's when the pressure's going to start building up and your needle's going to start climbing. So you're waiting for it to get up to around about 10 to 11, and that's when you turn your heat source down, because you want to maintain that pressure. For example, venison stew is going to be done for 90 minutes, so you want to make sure that you maintain that pressure for the whole 90 minutes. If it drops down too far, you actually have to start the whole process again. But if it starts dropping down and you catch it, you know, within a couple of minutes, you turn your heat source up to bring the pressure back up. If the pressure keeps on going up and up and up, then you turn your heat source down a little bit. This is where I love the hot plates that I use, because it's just like hit a button and it'll take it down by a little bit, and you can just keep an eye on it then. This here, once it reaches 10, this here, it starts jiggling and starts letting steam out, or it's actually letting pressure out. So every time it does a little jiggle, it's letting a little bit of pressure out, so that's what maintains it at, you know, around about 10 to 11. So you just do that for 90 minutes. Then once it's been 90 minutes, all you do is go and just turn your heat source off and walk away. And what you're looking for is, and it can take quite a while to go back down. Sometimes it can take, you know, a good half an hour to an hour, depending again on what you're doing and how dense your food is in your jars. So what you're looking for is you're looking for your needle to go back down to zero, your pressure to go back down to zero, and you're waiting for your air vent, which is up, to pop down. So the needle's going to drop down first, and then the air vent will still take, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes sometimes to drop back down to zero. Once that's happened, then you can take your weight off, your regulator, your jiggler off, and put that to the side. then what I generally do is I generally just walk away and leave it for 5 to 10 minutes. And then I come and take the lid off. But I take my lid off and I just leave it sitting on the side like that. So it's letting whatever heat and steam in there, it's just letting it out a bit more gently than just if you take the whole lid off and let it whoosh out. And then everything doesn't go into thermal shock. You're not going to cause siphoning because of sudden change of temperature getting in there. And I generally leave that 10 to 20 minutes, depends how busy I am, depends what else I'm doing. And then you can take your lid off and you can lift out your goodies and leave them on the bench for 24 hours. Let them seal within that 24 hours, and then you take your screw bands off, wash your jars and put them in your pantry on your shelf. So that's just a little bit in a nutshell about pressure canning and the lid. I hope it helps explain it a little bit. I'm sorry I'm not very good. I've got so many things racing through my head and I'm trying to remember to tell you everything that sometimes it comes out a bit jumbled. Well, in my brain it feels like it's jumbled anyway. But you're welcome to ask me questions in the comments. Feel free to join my Facebook page, Catherine's Kitchen, where I often do tutorials and I put pictures up and instructions on how to do things. So yeah, I hope this helps somebody and I hope you're having a great day. Till next time, bye.